The CCP mouthpiece I can't do this. In July 2011, a Chinese reporter named Leis student protests seeking freedom and democracy broke out at Students protests seeking freedom and democracy. Student protests seeking freedom and democracy broke out at China's University of Science and Technology after whose ouster. Oh, I have to stop this. Hi everyone, I'm Lei. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is not only my favorite holiday, it also is a special anniversary for me. Last Thanksgiving, I decided to be a YouTuber. So today marks the first anniversary of Lei becoming a YouTuber. I want to thank everyone who's been with me through my first year. It hasn't been an easy journey, but the experience is priceless. During the pandemic, I was stuck at home, and like many of you, I relied on social media to obtain information. My good friend Kathy, who's always had a lot of faith in me, encouraged me to be a YouTuber. She connected me to two people she knew looking for an on-camera person for their newly launched channel. I thought it was pretty easy, as all I needed to do was talk in front of the camera. After a while, however, things changed, and I somehow ended up being the only one working on the channel. After flying solo, I changed the channel name and quickly found out how little I actually knew about the YouTube business. I was overwhelmed and reached out to some friends for help. One of them said this to me. She said, "You have to know who your audience is and why you want to make videos." In the beginning, I was a little all over the place. It took me a good few months to figure out who my audience is and why I'm making videos for them. Being bilingual in Chinese and English, I noticed a big gap between the information about China that's available to Chinese-speaking audiences and English-speaking audiences. Many mainstream media outlets have hired Chinese journalists to cover China topics, but I found out their reports superficial when it comes to insights and analysis. Take my latest video on Elon Musk, for example. After Musk tweeted a Chinese poem, many media outlets covered it, but I wasn't convinced by their analysis. I didn't rush to make a video and waited. One day I read a report on Tesla's data center in China. It clicked. With some research, it was clear to me that Musk's tweet was intended to send a message to Beijing. Now, I don't think what I presented in my video was rocket science or anything extraordinary. All the information was already out there. I just connected the dots. With the amount of resources these large media outlets have, their journalists should be able to find it more easily than I did if they do some thinking and digging. I'm not saying these journalists aren't capable. I don't think it's the lack of ability. Maybe the real reason is that many Chinese-speaking journalists are afraid to touch the sensitive nerves of the Chinese Communist Party because these journalists still have family in China who may get a knock on the door. There's also a chance that these media outlets deliberately keep their China coverage vague and superficial because they don't want to upset the CCP leaders. On the latest sex scandal involving Chinese tennis star Peng Shuai and the CCP leader Zhang Gaoli, Western media almost exclusively focused on Peng's safety and whereabouts and the Me Too movement. But to many Chinese, these angles aren't what's relevant. They are interested in the ramifications of the scandal on the CCP's political infighting and how Xi Jinping will deal with Zhang Gaoli. Many China experts based outside China have talked extensively about the impact of the scandal on the regime and directly addressed the core issue, which is the corruption within the CCP and its leaders. My covering these topics fill a void because people in the West also want to know the real impact of these events on the CCP and not just the Me Too movement. Now, in the aftermath of the sex scandal, the boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympics is in the news. I think it's great that more people are speaking out and calling for a boycott, but many Chinese don't care about the boycott one way or the other. This is because they don't see how the boycott will change their life inside China or the CCP. We're less than 3 months away from the Games, and the free world still hasn't made up its mind about boycotting or not boycotting. Politicians are talking about a diplomatic boycott, which is only a symbolic gesture. Beijing doesn't care as long as the Games go on. The CCP knows very well that the diplomatic boycott is only a PR maneuver for Western governments. If Western media really cares about China and the Chinese people, they should use the Olympic Games as a platform to let the real stories of China be told and the real voices of the Chinese people be heard. I hope the world's media doesn't practice self-censorship during the Games, if the Games happen. If they all cover China and the CCP truthfully, maybe my days as a YouTuber will be over soon, and I certainly look forward to that day. This past year hasn't been easy. At times, I felt discouraged and unmotivated, especially during the early months. Sometimes I think that I'm not very good at this because I don't do the things that successful YouTubers do, like frequently asking people to subscribe and like my videos, and sharing behind-the-scenes stories on social media. But I admit your comments and encouraging words always lift me up. Without me asking, some of you donated money on my website. Regardless of the amount, it spoke louder than words and drove away any clouds of doubt over my head and kept me going. Here, I want to say a big thank you to you all. So far, making these videos takes almost all of my time. Except for video editing, I do everything else myself. Research, script writing, filming, responding to comments. My biggest challenges are filming in the middle of the night and doing my hair and makeup at the end of the day. I do the filming in my real office and always wait until it gets dark and quiet. A couple of videos were actually filmed after midnight. There were times that I was quite exhausted before the filming, but no matter what, I came through. I think things will only get better from here on. By the way, I didn't come up with the name Leis Real Talk. My friend Deborah did. I wouldn't feel comfortable using my name in the show, but she said Lei is my branding and it's going to stand out. I think she's right. I want to thank everyone for being with me for the year we had. We're going to grow this channel and community big together. We have a lot more videos to make and share. Right now, I probably need to get back to script writing for next week. So I thank you, and I'll see you soon.